one, beach, clean water, and green bond. We'll begin our program momentarily, but first I wanted to go over some of the housekeeping since we're on this virtual webinar platform. Your microphone is automatically muted. Your video is off if you're a participant. The chat feature has been disabled for the speaking portion, but there will be an opportunity at the end for members of the press to ask questions after everyone's delivered the remarks. If you have a question, please use the Q&A feature on the right-hand side of the menu at the bottom of the screen and submit it. And if you have a technical need or a question, use the Q&A feature and we will try to help you as best we can. Now, before we get into the advocacy part of our program, I'd like to introduce Secretary of State Nellie Gorbea. She's here in her official capacity to explain the process, the action steps, the time frame leading up to the statewide special election on the referenda on March 2nd. Rhode Island voters have a big deadline coming up in a week that the Secretary of State will tell you about, and we want to get the word out. So, Madam Secretary, thank you for your presence this morning.
Thank you, Director Coit, and everybody else on this wonderful call, and thanks for the chance to speak today. It's an honor to share the virtual stage with my fellow elected officials and all of our panelists. And yes, it's true that fresh off of the election of a lifetime, we'll be once again casting our ballots next month. And the good news is that despite the incredible challenges of 2020, the election last year, particularly the November election, was a huge success in Rhode Island, and we're going to be doing a lot of the same things that made it a success for the March 2nd election. The 7 bond questions on the ballot tackle important issues for Rhode Islanders, things like investments in education, housing, childcare, the environment, roads and bridges. And question 2, which we are kicking off today, is one that every Rhode Islander will be able to identify with, especially if you're a parent. I love being able to take my parents to the beaches and the parks that will be helped by this bond. I'm encouraged by the investments that these $75 million will have in making our state more resilient to climate change, how it will keep our drinking water clean and support our local farms. And each of these projects will provide great jobs now and way into the future. But I digress. My job here is to tell you about the nuts and bolts of the election, so let me just jump right into that. The election, like I said, will be running just like it did in 2020. Voters will be provided with a lot of information, and then they'll be able to vote safely and securely so that we can keep people healthy while making sure that they can exercise their right to vote. Later this month, every household will be receiving a voter guide on each of the bond questions, and if you're really curious as to what it looks like, you can go on our website, vote.ri.gov. Every voter will have 3 safe and secure options to choose from in terms of casting a ballot. So you're going to be able to either choose whether you want to vote from home using a mail ballot, early in person at your city or town hall starting 20 days before the election, or you can vote at the polls on March 2nd. So if you want to vote from home in the special election, my office did send out all active registered voters a mail ballot application that has a prepaid return envelope. And all you have to do is to fill it out and return that mail ballot application by February 9th, which is the deadline that Janet referred to. Please remember that even if you voted from home in November, you still have to fill out a mail ballot application to vote from home in the special election. There will be, once again, secure election drop boxes located in every single Rhode Island community, thanks to the hard work of the Board of Elections. And you can use any drop box to return your ballot. We have a drop box locator at vote.ri.gov to help you find the one that's closest to your home or to your work. And you're also able to track the status of your mail ballot on vote.ri.gov. So if you want to know sort of what happened once you sent it in, the application, you'll be able to track everything with regards to your application and later on your ballot. Early in-person voting, the second way that I talked about that you can vote, was hugely popular in November, and you can do it again for the special election. I'm proud to say that it's now the law of the land here in Rhode Island, so early in-person voting is here to stay. The process works the same as voting at the polls, and basically just have to show your ID, receive your ballot, fill it out, and feed it into the voting machine. And the early in-person voting period is 20 days, and it starts February 10th and runs through March 1st. And then if you choose to vote on election day, there will be 57 polling locations open. So that's a lot fewer than the number of polling places for the November election. It's very likely that your polling place that you usually are used to going to will have changed. Make sure you go to vote.ri.gov to figure out where to go vote if you're going to vote on March 2nd. The polling places will be available 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. like they usually are. And one big reminder, all ballots, including mail ballots, have to be received by the Board of Elections or in a drop box by 8 p.m. on election day. So please don't sit on these. Fill them out, get them in as quickly as possible. Sorry, of course. You can find all of this at vote.ri.gov. It's a lot of information. And so I want to encourage everybody to do that, to go to vote.ri.gov. You can also contact my team at elections at sos.ri.gov or give us a call at 222-2340. We can handle a number of languages there. And I really want to thank you for the opportunity to speak with you today and encourage all Rhode Islanders to be voters for this March 2nd special election.
Thank you so much, Secretary Gorbea. We're so grateful for that clear information, and we're grateful for all that you do to make sure we have fair and open elections in the state of Rhode Island. So thanks for joining us today.